Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Ultimate Fighting Chat podcast discussing UFC 263. Why is it never referred to as 263? They're okay saying UFC 200, but why is it never 263? There's no other way to say UFC 200, though, is there? Yeah, 200, 200.
More syllables. It sounds better as well. UFC 263 against UFC 263. It's quite a lot more of a mouthful. But
maybe that's why then. Should we start the trend?
No.
We've got another subscriber.
Huh?
Got another subscriber.
Have we?
On YouTube. Yeah, no joke.
Does that make two now?
Real ones, yeah.
It'll be a while before we can get up to 263.
Yeah, it's got a two in it.
Well, as we don't have many, give both of them a shout out. How about that? It's quite good, isn't it? Quite a good idea. Give them a shout out.
Yeah,
but you can't put their names, can you?
No.
Nah, yeah,
damn it.
Yeah,
okay. Name. No, there was one DMX bloke, wasn't it? I actually don't know. I actually don't know the name of the other one because it just says a number. You know, it doesn't say the name. But the other one, I did get a notification. Hang on, maybe I can tell you. I think I might be able to. Hold on,
I'll get
check.
I'll get into the event while you dig it out. How about that?
No, I don't know about that. What do you mean?
It's going to be very good content. I was just sitting here while you dig through your emails.
No, you know it is. No, I'm not. Well, I don't know if it's on email. Hang on a minute. Let me have a quick look. Go on then. You do. Hang on. All right. You do the first one. Where's the
first fight? Okay. Light heavyweight Paul Craig versus Jamal Hill.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite fights ever. No joke.
Well, just calm down.
I can't. I actually am excited about that.
Formalities yet. Now, Paul Craig versus Jamal Hill. Paul Craig.
But you haven't done stuff about this event took place here and
who gives a rat's? Okay, look, this event took place at the Gila River Arena in Arizona, United States.
Yeah, with fans and everything.
Yeah, all right. I'm getting to that. 17,000 people in attendance. So, you know, I hope they had a good time. But while there were some crumbs of good fights and good things happening in this event, I'd say on the whole, it weren't great.
Yeah, right. So what?
Listen, it wasn't bad either.
No. Don't matter about all that because I'm going to say a big thank you to Earl DMX Simmons. Yeah, come on, boy. Thanks very much for subscribing. It was after our Ultimate Fighter content, and maybe he's into the Ultimate Fighter. I don't know.
I think he probably just hit the subscribe button by accident. But if he didn't, drop us a DM, leave us your number, and we'll get you on the show. Right.
No, listen, anyway, listen to this. Drop us a DM, X.
Brilliant. Love it. Using his name.
Maybe you don't want to be called out to the world.
You knob. We're going to have to restart this now.
I think we might have to. But it's true, though.
No, leave it. So what? No one's going to check.
What do you mean? But he's a subscriber, so he knows we've done it.
For him. Yeah, but good for him. Look, no one.
No, and only if he wants to know.
Yeah, but technically, it's only me, you, and him that is ever going to listen to this show, and he's a maybe. He's even not a definite anyway. So don't worry about it. Listen, Paul Craig. It went down as a TKO, elbows and punches, round one. Which obviously that is why it stopped, but it isn't why it stopped. As we know, it stopped because Jamal Hill's arm got turned into a limp fish. It was a brilliant fight.
I bloody loved it.
And both fighters showed something in this. There was apparently a little bit of beef before the fight and stuff like before the weigh-ins. There was a little bit of a confrontation and stuff. But it's one of those sort of quite good ones where afterwards, if you like, they both earned each other's respect. And they both went out at night on the tiles together and all that, which you wouldn't have thought Jamal Hill would have been able to do that with what looked like a nasty...
He's got feet, isn't he? Legs.
Yeah, but when I'm out on the tiles, I like to use my arms a lot. But you would have thought he's just lost the fight. He's just got an injury that's probably going to put him out of commission for a while. You might have thought he'd either been drowning his sorrows maybe a little bit more, or he'd have been in the hospital. not out dancing with the guy who smashed his arm up. But that's why this sport is brilliant. It's not why this sport's brilliant. It's one of the reasons why the sport's good. Yeah, good win for Paul Craig. No doubt about it. I thought he was going to lose this fight, if I'm being honest.
Did you?
I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. Yeah, just because when sometimes on the feet, I think he shies away from strikes a bit too much. And against big hitters or good strikers, that can get you in a lot of trouble. But listen, maybe he's developing, or maybe it's just because he managed to get this fight into his realm early on. What I really like about Craig is when he gets when he gets a fight into his realm, he don't piss about. You know what I mean? He gives people grief. He tries submissions. He throws everything at it. And more often than not, he seems to be, coming up with the goods. And I think he's wicked as well. I like the guy. And he's losing his barnet at the back of his head. And I can relate to that and all. So he's part of the gang.
He's definitely got splat, yeah.
And so he's part of the gang on that front. So there's just nothing to dislike about Paul Craig. He's brilliant. But I like Jamal.
Brilliant. He looks brilliant. Brilliant beard. Brilliant. He looks powers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's going to look great when he finally decides to shave his hair. If it ever does develop into something more than what he's of an issue that he's got, he's going to look amazing. He looks wicked anyway. Yeah, like if that look flat at the back of his head decides.
No, you said more of an issue that he's got, which means that what he's got is an issue as well.
Well, it would be for some people. Was for me.
Okay, so you're going off of how you feel about it for yourself, not because he might not be bothered.
He shouldn't be because he looks amazing.
He does look amazing.
I'd say good bod, wicked beard, looks cool, fights for a living. I mean, can't ask for much more.
Yeah, good chats as well. He's just brilliant.
Yeah, so good win for him. We like him. But have you got anything to say about this fight? Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, not much. I mean, I say I've got not much to say about it, considering it's one of my favourite fights. I loved this fight. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I loved every second of it. It was just the best fight. It was crazy. It was nuts. It was speeds. It was two blokes just going mad. And it had a brilliant ref in it as well. So everything about it was brilliant. I mean, when he came out, I rewound it and went, ooh, who's this old fella? Don't mean he's crap. But who's this bloke?
Oh, what was his name? Bernie or something like that, wasn't it?
Al Guinea.
Guinea, that's it.
Al Guinea, right? So before it even started, I went, oof, who's this bloke? Never seen him before. But it was a great fight. Let's be honest. You could see an arm flying around everywhere when he was kind of in a triangle, weren't he? So he had the arm there. The arm he'd already snapped the arm in an arm bar.
That's right.
Snapped it in half. Or pulled the ligaments. It's not broken. I think it's just the ligaments. So it was all bent the wrong way. And then he got him into a triangle and just started doing punches and loads of speedy elbows, just anything, while this arm was flapping up and down. And Guinea was like, well, he's tap. I mean, I can't tell. Is that a tap or what? So I'm going to say bad stoppage. Took way too long. But I really liked everything about the fight. I even liked that about the fight because that gave it another little layer of interestingness. Is that a word, Hick? Answer me now, boy.
I'll answer it for you. It's definitely not a word. Carry on.
Oh, yeah, but things like, I don't know, OMG and all that crap.
They've actually gone through some sort of regulation process and they'll have ended up in the dictionary. It's interestingness. I mean, I doubt it's ever been presented to a regulatory board, but if it had, I'm sure they'd turn it down and say, no, that sounds
okay. Did you understand what I meant?
I did understand what you mean.
Clever language, innit?
Brilliant. I told you, as far as I'm concerned, it's the greatest invention in the history of the human species.
It's absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I just made up a word that absolutely made sense to me and then to another person. We both know it didn't exist. I had to find a way to express myself. I found it and it made absolute sense. That's how brilliant it is. Or is that how brilliant I am?
That's definitely how brilliant it is.
Okay. But it came from my mouth.
Yeah,
you mean the language? Okay.
It is in the dictionary.
Shut up.
Yeah, interestingness. So you haven't invented anything. And,
it's no big deal. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
I apologise then. Big deal. Anyway, so he made it interesting. Guinea made it interesting. All of it was brilliant. Even the shot afterwards of Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill on his knees didn't even look like he was in pain or anything, just sitting there as if to say, got done, lost. Even that was a brilliant shot. Whole thing was brilliant. Loved the fight. It was just amazing, crazy, short moment, just really good. A good, quick, speedy burst of nutcaseness. Is that a word?
That definitely. I ain't even opened that one into Google. That one I definitely know is garbage.
What,
But I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Understood it. Yeah, so I loved it. Great.
Yeah, brilliant. I do have to say, I don't have anything to add other than I was shouting at the telly screen. His arm is smashed in. Stop the fight. Because as far as I was concerned, his arm was smashed in and he couldn't tap. Certainly not with that hand. Maybe the other hand he could. But like when you were crushing my wrist in a kind of jiu-jitsu grappling match we had, the pain was too much, was my first concern. And I wasn't thinking about, what should I be doing to end this submission? I don't want to discuss it now because we've had hours and hours of discussion about how crap you were that day. But
I weren't crap.
But no. I said no. This is not the time or place. But let's just say
we could use it as an opportunity to bring up Strickland and the other bloke.
We could do, but I'm not going to.
We should talk about other. Okay, we'll do separate podcasts for news stuff and things that have happened that were of interest.
Yeah,
because I liked that as well.
Okay, but yeah, look, you were crap. Guinea was crap, and the guy who was sparring Strickland was crap. They're just the three key principles you need to know in all these stories. So moving on to, and is that all right to move on? I mean,
I loved that fight.
I know you did. Yeah, you've even gone a bit red from it. So that's
honestly, it was brilliant. It was not as good, but almost as good as
Stan versus Silva.
No. Big Nog and
Frank
Mir.
Yeah, definitely wasn't as good as
incredible.
that.
I mean, I am going to do a Russell Peters on it. It was incredible, right?
Yeah.
Real good fight. There's loads of good fights. This isn't the time. It is the time because we're talking about brilliant fights. That's amazing. Pat Bede and Chet Congo, bloody brilliant. Nick Diaz and Paul Darley.
Yeah, that's got
amazing.
Yeah.
So there is some real good fights out there, but it's up there. It's one of them. It was fantastic, absolutely fantastic, brilliant.
The thing it doesn't have that those other fights had was the momentum shifts. So those other fights all momentum shifts, whereas this was a lot more straightforward, and that's where it just falls short of being, if you like, in the pantheon of greats. But it was.
And the other one, Andrei Arlovsky and Travis Bron. Brilliant. One bloke getting smashed up against the face. Oh, he's out of here. Then Travis Brown done a powers comeback and almost done him. That was another brilliant fight. Brilliant. What?
I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Mate, please, you do need to redo that one. Arlovsky and Travis Brown. That is brilliant. Good one.
It's a shame Travis Brown didn't keep going.
He's brilliant.
Or evolve a bit, because I'll tell you what, some of the heavyweights out there now, I'm sure
plays loads of them.
He'd make mincemeat out of. Anyway, he's busy hammering Ronda Rousey. Right, now.
True enough.
That takes a lot of your time. Right, next fight, welterweight, Bilal Muhammad defeated. Bilal. Look, we like this guy, but after this performance, I'm going to say Bilal. Forget the name Muhammad.
This is crap.
He forgetted. He beat.
Is that in the dictionary? Forget it.
I definitely don't think so.
See, this is why we should have the hick on here, just in the background. You know, like on Countdown or whatever. You have that. Yeah. You have a bloke Giles or someone like that.
Dictionary Corner. It's called.
Is that what that's called? Is it?
It's called Dictionary Corner.
I didn't know it had a name. Yeah, you have a bloke there that says, "Well, I'll just check that for you," and that's what the hick is.
Yeah.
Oh, and the hick wouldn't need the dictionary to check it. He'd just check his head.
Yeah, it's in his brain.
He'd just go, "Yeah, I'll just check that for you," and that's what we need him for. So there you go, another one.
Well, Bilal, forget this fight. Muhammad defeated Damian Maya by unanimous decision, 30-27, and then 2 scores of 29-28. That I don't have anything else to say about this fight, other than I did say to you a while back, and not saying you disagreed, but Damian Maia's ranking was drastically outdated. I think he was ranked number 7 or something going into this fight, or around that sort of touch. It done nothing to justify a top 10 position for absolutely ages, in my opinion.
And that counts for a lot.
It does, yeah. And I think that, look, Maia got a win against Ben Askren, right, in October 2019. So that's almost 2 years ago.
Amazing fight.
That beat Anthony Rocco Martin basically pretty much 2 years ago. That does not give you okay, so he lost to Bilal Muhammad now. Before that, he'd lost to Gilbert Burns via TKO. Then he beat Ben Askren, Anthony Martin, and Lyman Good. Right, they are not 3 fighters that secure you a top 10 slot, in my opinion. And then before that, he'd lost to Usman, Covington, and Woodley. So if you like, I would say his last significant win. Askren has got some name value, but let's be honest, his last significant win was when he beat Masvidal by split decision in May 2017. Yet somehow he'd managed to keep hold of that top 10 position for all those years without, as far as I'm concerned, justifying it or defending it. I think we're now in a scenario where Bilal Muhammad has jumped up 3 spaces.
What, for doing Maia?
Yeah, so now let's just look at some of the people he's leapfrogged. He's leapfrogged Ponzinibbio and the Leech. I'm sorry, I believe both those people. I like Muhammad loads, but I believe both those people would be.
Yeah, they're better.
But look, is what it is. It was a terrible fight. It was very much in keeping with Maia's sort of performances that he does as of late. You know, a strong first round, but if he don't get you out there in the first round, then it's going to be, you know, falling on the floors and grabbing ankles and getting picked off with strikes for the next 10 minutes. And
this is a shame. I really like him. I think he's one of the best blokes in it, I'd say.
Agree, yeah.
He's so brilliant. I even like his fighting style. I think his striking is actually all right.
Yeah,
I do actually think it's all right.
I think he lacks confidence in him. It's actually not that bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Obviously, his jiu-jitsu is amazing. He's good if he does get hold of you, even though he tried to get hold of Muhammad in this one, he didn't keep hold of you. He's normally quite good at getting hold of the people and gluing to them and then just literally dragging them to the floor and then strangling them or whatever. So I do actually think he's a good fighter, but maybe like I'll use the word you used, you know, for his ranking. Maybe he's just a bit outdated now, and he really looked old. And I mean, his face.
Yeah, well, he's always looked old, didn't he? I mean, he looked like a granddad when he entered. He's like that other Brazilian guy we spoke about the other day and that Bisping brought up, Rodriguez. It's like he's 29.
Yeah.
He had the face of a guy who's about 50. Damian Maia, though, is actually pretty old. He's 43, and I think he wants one more fight. I think
he does.
Yeah, sort of mentioned some names, but
I know the name he mentioned. I can remember.
Diaz is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everybody seems to want to call that guy out. I mean, outside of Jake Paul and Logan Paul, he's probably the most called out fighter in the world these days. But yeah, I have no desire to see Maia fight again. His fights have not been particularly interesting for a while. And if they are going to give him a fight, to me, I'd like to see him matched up against somebody who maybe is also going to wrestle. See, I liked the Askren Maia matchup.
That was amazing fight.
Guys, yeah, I really like the idea of the matchup. It was, to me, it was basically wrestling v jiu-jitsu and all that. I really was intrigued by that matchup.
It was good.
Unless they can find something similar again. Look, as we agreed earlier, I'll watch any fight, but I wouldn't be excited for it. Let's put it like that. But yeah, as far as the bloke, and he's had a wicked career and all that, hasn't he? Let's be honest. So, but
yeah,
it just feels a bit Rashadi Evans at the moment. Who's another guy? Didn't he say that he wants to come out and have another fight?
Yeah.
I mean, gee whiz.
Anyway,
let's not.
Who do you want to see come back the most? Rashad or Dan Hardy?
Or Jimmy Manuwa?
Or Manuwa, that's another good one. Belfort, I ain't seen him fight for ages. He says he wants to smash everyone's teeth out and all.
Yeah, but if we take the 3 we started with, who was it?
Dan Hardy, Rashad,
or Manuwa,
and Jimmy Manuwa's.
Okay, Rashad's definitely in the bottom. I've got literally Zero interest in that. Manua, I think, would be the one that
He's
I'd be
the most needed.
As in, I think he could still do something relevant. I don't think he'd win a title or anything, but I think he could still be, creep into the top 10 and have some good wins. And Dan Hardy, probably I'd be most interested out of those 3-4. But honestly, that ship sailed as well. I couldn't give a rat's ass whether he fought again or not. Even though I
You
like
ain't
the
the
bloke,
only one that thinks that.
I ain't bothered about seeing him fight again. It's as far as I'm concerned, he had a wicked career and it's done. Enjoy it. Should we go on to the next one?
Yeah, of course. Let's go on to the next one because there's nothing more to say about Damian Maia and Bilal Muhammad apart from crap.
Yeah, not a great fight.
No,
but
terrible.
They can't all be barnstormers. Next one, Leon Edwards defeated Nathan Diaz.
Terrible performance by Diaz. Terrible.
Okay, 49-46 is across the board. Obviously, it will be the 5th round that went to Diaz. Do you feel that he could have attacked with more urgency or perhaps got Edwards out of there? I mean, that's a silly question. Of course, if he landed one more big strike, he could have got Edwards out of there. But do you feel like he let him off the hook a little bit? Pointed his finger at him, sort of took a little bit too long to notice that he was really in a lot of trouble, kind of got clinched and held the clinch too long rather than emptying the tank on him? Or do you think
I think Diaz, was in more battle worn than he lets on, than he shows. His leg would have been killing him. He did try and do him, I think. And he couldn't. That slap punch was kind of like seemed to me like the last thing he had left. Now the word is, if it was 6 rounds, he would have done him. If it was on the street, he would have done him. That may be true, but it ain't on the street, and there ain't 6 rounds. There's only 5, so that's the end of it. And honestly, that slap left straight was actually really good. It's a really good combo. It's an excellent straight punch. It snapped Edwards right on the bottom of his chin, snapped his neck, which is why he got done. So obviously rattled his brain loads. It was really good. But we're talking about, I think that's the only good or thing at all that he did. It's terrible. I can't stand this fight. The fact that everyone is going on about, oh, it's such a shame for Leon. He gets such bad luck because he's supposed to have come out of this shining because he beat Nate Diaz and he'll get a title shot now. But it's actually Nate Diaz that has come out looking amazing. Not in my eyes, it ain't. Number one, he lost the fight. Number two, the performance was terrible. He was crap. He weren't good at all. Sloppy and just really useless. Now, I enjoyed the fight. I'm not telling you I didn't enjoy that fight. I love the shenanigans. Take that, Hick. I love the shenanigans, right? I love all that pointing, turning his back. I like all that. But in this fight, I don't know. It was more down to not being on point, terrible timing, maybe not having that much energy, not really knowing how to handle Edwards, who did brilliant in that fight. I thought he was good. Now, he could have done a lot better and all. He could have fought the way Masvidal fought Nate Diaz and just beat him up. And he did beat him up, but he didn't smash his face in. Although he did, but, he could have done a lot more. He could have finished that fight. He could have done him before that 5th round, probably, had he really tried to. But don't matter. I ain't having a dig at Leon Edwards. I thought he was good. But, he's got to be careful, though, isn't he? Getting smashed. He got one strike. Got done by one strike, basically, in that whole fight. And it almost took him out.
That can happen to anyone.
From a lightweight. From a lightweight, though, right?
It did land flush. It was in the 5th round.
It was qual. But
there's certain things you can say about it. I think I said, didn't I, that this fight was an easy fight stylistically, and then I backtracked because obviously Nate Diaz is tough as nails, right? But what I meant was stylistically, this is perfect for Leon Edwards. He's not going to have to worry too much about any takedown attempts. It's a striking match against somebody who is, as you said, probably more suited to the weight division below. And it basically went how I thought it would go. It was one-way traffic. It was straightforward for Leon Edwards until the last minute of the fight. And that last minute of the fight, I think, saved Diaz from possibly some negative reaction from the crowd. Or
shouldn't have, though.
Not the crowd necessarily. And And I don't look.
Slapping a punch
Look at
shouldn't
the,
save
look at the
him for
state of
that
his face and all.
performance.
I don't mean he'd have got grief as in he didn't give 100. I mean, he always gives 100%. He always puts his body on the line. But like you, I didn't see much in his performance to get excited about. You know, he looked off the pace. He looked honestly a little bit out of ideas. Didn't really know how to
That's why he's
mix it
turning
up
his back. He's like, what am I doing? Yeah.
Yeah, or change the tide of the fight. I'd much rather he actually threw some more straight punches rather than these sort of bandy, loose, windmilly sort of shots that he throws. But I do think that punch, like you said, took some of the shine away from Edwards and kind of gave some shine to Diaz for what, for me, outside of toughness, grit, and all that, was a pretty poor performance.
Yeah, it was bad. It didn't do that for me, but that seems to be the narrative after the fight, that, you know, everyone's talking about Nate Diaz. Listen, and maybe they are. I'm not saying that they ain't. I'm just saying, for me, I saw that for what it was, and went poor performance by one bloke, good performance by another. It didn't, unless he won the fight. It still would. I still would have said poor performance if Nate Diaz won the fight from that strike. I still would have gone, yeah, but the rest of it was a poor performance. He just won, and that just goes to show how testament, you know, his toughness is, the fact that he can win after all that. And there is something to be said for that. But
Yeah,
his skill, yeah, of course there is, right? That's the toughest test you can be given. Can you still go and still do what you need to do when you're at your tiredest, your weakest, you're, like you said, out of ideas? And he still can. So he's brilliant. But the skill, the bandy loopy punches that you mentioned, they can be good at the right time with the blokes up against the fence or whatever, covering up and whatever. They can be good. They're all over the place. They're a bit unorthodox, you know, slap, this, that, punches coming in and, you know, to your ribs, to your guts or whatever, and then coming slapping up to your face and all that. They can be good, but just in thin air in the middle of the cage, no, they ain't good. It's bad.
yeah,
Bad.
yeah. There are times where those strikes can make him look pretty amateurish, and I think it's unnecessary because he can throw some decent punches, as we saw in that 5th round. But when he's just winging those punches out of range and they fall short and he's a bit off balance, they don't do him or his skill level any credit. He's better than sometimes I think what he shows. But look, good for Edwards. Do you think he should sit out and wait for the title shot, Edwards, or do you think he should have one more? He's one of those guys that it's hard to deny him, I think, the shot, because he's just got such an impressive run going. But for me, his run still lacks a Covington, a Burns, a Thompson, a Luque, a Chiesa, a Masvidal. He hasn't beaten any of these guys. Not that I can remember off the top of my head. He hasn't beaten any of those guys, certainly not lately. And they're all, that's the top 7 or top 8. I've just.
Well, what's his?
He's not beaten any of them.
Not the Bilal Muhammad. But
he has beaten. Sorry, he beat Luque, but that was 4 years ago.
What is he's an 8 fight or 9 streak? Who are the opponents he done?
Well, Nate Diaz, Bilal Muhammad was the no contest, but you know he was looking good in that fight, so let's ignore that one. Dos Anjos, Gunnar Nelson, Donald Cerrone, Peter Sabota, Brian Barberina, Luque, but like I said, it's 4 years ago. That Tumenov, who he was decent at the time, Tumenov, but yeah, that was back in 2016, and Dominic Waters, and then before that was the defeat to Usman.
But so you know what, they're all good.
Well, Dominic Waters maybe ain't great, but Tumenov I do think was good. Luque was good. Barberina's tough. Sabota's good, okay. Yeah. Cerrone, obviously, that was still when Cerrone had a bit more about him.
He didn't get done by him. That's the main thing. He didn't lose. No, he weren't the bloke that lost against Cerrone and everyone else done him. He beat him as well.
Exactly, yeah. He beat Gunnar Nelson, but I think he was having trouble in the 3rd round. I think Gunnar Nelson had full mount and all that sort of stuff, didn't he, in that 3rd round? Had him in a fair bit of trouble. He won that fight, split decision. Dos Anjos, I think, is his best win. Even now, I think that's a better win than against Nate Diaz.
It's Dos Anjos at welters, though. And that's not the best Dos Anjos.
He's not the best good. Dos Anjos, still decent. But like I say, if you all those names, and now you look, Covington, Burns, Edwards, he is Edwards, Thompson, Luque, he's the only one he's beaten, but that was 4 years ago. Luque's very different now, as is Leon Edwards, by the way.
Yeah.
Chiesa, Masvidal, Magny. I mean, he's not beaten any of these guys. That's the top 8.
Yeah, yes, it's true. They're just facts, unfortunately. If you just go after numbers, like you say, people can go, oh, he's got to have a title shot. Look how many he's won straight and all that stuff. But if you remember, Jim Miller did something similar back in the days at lightweight, beat a load of blokes and never got no title shot or out. The facts are the facts. Without going into it, of course, you would just go, yeah, next bloke for the title, because he's been going on about it and been right there for ages now. But you've just read out the names. And if you're, I mean, I don't know if I'm agreeing with you or not, because you wasn't 100% clear what you thought, but he don't deserve the title shot, because you're right. There's way too many blokes that he ain't done that are also not Magny, that are also close to title shots. So Burns has had a title shot. Wonder Boy very close to title shots.
Yeah, Burns is facing Thompson next, so
yeah,
that one is, if you like, a scratch. But obviously Covington does not have a fight. So would you just in a word, would you give the title shot to Covington or Edwards? Bearing in mind that we've seen Covington Usman. We have seen Edwards Usman, but a very, very long time ago. So which one would you?
It doesn't matter what I think, because Dana's already said that it's Covington next, not Edwards. Yeah. So, but no one cares what he thinks. You're asking me what I think.
If you were Dana,
I agree with Dana. Yeah, I agree with Dana. But you know what? Mostly based on what you've just said, all those names you read out. He even needs to do Magny. No, he's the only one he don't need to do. No one needs to bother doing Magny. He's crap, right?
But, oh man, your hatred for Magny. But
I don't hate. No, I don't hate him. I like him. He's Marine and everything. An army. He's qual, and he fights. He's qual, but he's not a good fighter. And
I meant your hatred for his fighting style. Yeah.
No, I don't even hate his fighting style. I just think he ain't very good, and it don't matter that he's done a few blokes. He's ranking too high, like you said about Meyer and all that. But look, there was a lot of other blokes there. He don't need to do people like Luque again. He's done him. It don't matter. It does matter his length.
Well, Luque's fighting Chiesa, I believe. So number 5 and number 6 are tied up. Number 4 and number 2 are tied up. Number 1 is obviously Covington. Number 3 is Edwards. They're both free to potentially face Usman. You're saying it's been agreed Covington, but I'm talking in
pretty much, yeah.
Masvidal, he's free, but I don't think that it's the right fight for Masvidal. I don't think that's the right fight for Edwards. Masvidal is sort of, if you like, on a little bit of he's not on a slide. He just got beaten by Usman. Big deal. But I wouldn't want to potentially take away a future title contender and undo all the good work Leon Edwards has done against a guy who you couldn't then afterwards, say Masvidal beat Edwards, you couldn't then go, all right, well, Masvidal v. Usman now. You couldn't do that. He can't take Edwards' slot because he's already been beaten twice by Usman, etc., etc. So I wouldn't risk an Edwards shot against Masvidal. I'd rather have had an Edwards against Covington, an Edwards against Burns, an Edwards against Thompson. But
but then you don't know though, because maybe by that time, Covington beats what's his name, Usman, and then Masvidal does Edwards, and now it's Masvidal versus Covington. It could turn out like that. You never know.
Yeah, you never know how these things turn out. I think if I was Dana, I would give it to Edwards over Covington, just because Covington, he's had his shot, and Edwards, let's be honest, it's been a long time now. He's been there or thereabouts.
Yeah, so but it don't matter, because
let's have something new, something fresh, and Covington can have the winner. Done.
Yeah, look, of course, there's many ways to look at it, and I'm not disagreeing with that. Why not? I don't care. I like Edwards. No problem, right? But you did just list through a load of blokes. I know some of them are taken up and everything. A load of blokes that he ain't done on that way to that title shot. He ain't done them blokes. And I'm sorry, I didn't really think about it because I didn't look at it like you did. And I think he does need a few more blokes on the resume. Don't matter how many. Don't matter. I think he ain't done the main blokes. He ain't done the main cream of the crop.
No, but I think one of those top 5 blokes is enough to then justify the title shot. I think you justify it now, but that definitely rubber stamps it.
But Diaz weren't one of those blokes. He ain't a numbered powers bloke. He's just a money fight bloke, you know. He's it was the right thing to do for him. I'm not saying don't have to fight. I tell you what, I rate Nate Diaz for taking that fight. Why did he even bother? Brilliant.
White welterweight when he's been shown to be, if you like, not physically dominant enough to compete in that division. So yeah,
brilliant.
He's good, Diaz, in that regard.
He is, because
he will have a smash with anyone. He's good.
Well, he sort of will and he won't. He will as in he will fight anyone, but it has become a little bit more about the deal, the money and stuff. So that's why I thought it was always a weird one to take Edwards, because I mean, it's probably, I don't know this, but I would guess it's his, smallest name, lowest payday of all the other ones. I would have thought.
Of all the recent ones, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know why he took it. That I do like that he did. But it don't matter. It don't matter that he gets done, does it? It would never was going to matter. It would only have mattered if Edwards lost. It would never have mattered if Diaz lost that fight, and it doesn't matter.
He's got that cult-like following, and that is,
changes nothing. He's not, and he's not on the road to the title shot sort of bloke. He just has loads of wicked powers, money fights.
If it comes for him, but I think he's one of those guys that if he never got a title shot, I don't think he'd be bothered.
No, I enjoyed it. I still enjoyed the fight. I ain't gonna lie. I was definitely crying in that 5th round when I thought Edwards was actually, I thought he was going to get done. I am very surprised he didn't get done and he survived it, because it wasn't a long time to survive. I can't remember how much, maybe a minute and a half or something like that. But it was long enough for him to get done. He looked up at the clock and I don't know, he hung in there for somehow. But, I was crying about it because after all that work.
I think there's a couple of moments where he's one clean connection from it being over.
Yeah,
it was that close at a couple of points, but
I enjoyed it. I still enjoyed the fight. I think I love those sweep takedowns he did on Diaz. They were amazing. Arm across the chest, leg at the back of his legs. He swept him a couple of times.
Yeah. Pretty sure everyone got that move on Diaz.
Yeah, well, it's because of the way he stands. Sometimes he stands very to the side, like, because he's doing all that messing about and pointing and turning his back. He puts himself very flat at times, and he's like a plank of wood, isn't he? Look, he's still brilliant. I still enjoyed the fight. Honestly, though, it was a poor performance by him. He alluded to that afterwards in the post-fight thing, said that he had a cut up in training, so an injury, and that sort of messed up his fight camp and his preparation, which makes sense, right? You're about to fight, you've got to not fight for a week or two because of a cut. You're in your flow, aren't you? You know what you're doing and when. I reckon it would have messed him up. Not making excuses, but he made the excuse, not me. Weren't very good by him. Other things of note in that fight, Edwards has got a pretty good splat on him, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got the Paul Craig hairstyle going on. Yeah, that's right. He must have the same barber.
That's right. It's a pretty popular one, isn't it?
It does seem to be growing in popularity, that's for sure. Yeah.
Well, not growing.
I had it myself for a few years before it reached the front of my hair and all.
Yeah, but you did do things like that in the past. You've actually had, where you've had Barnet, you've come out of the barbers, like that sideburns bit, and you've shaved Barnet that you had right up high and got rid of your actual Barnet.
Well, those days are long. I ain't going to be visiting any barbers anytime soon.
That's good. Save you some money.
Yeah, I'd rather have the hair.
And boring, sitting in the seat and they do chats and all that.
Yeah,
good experience. Did you like going to the barbers?
No, I hate it, but don't try and make it
horrible experience.
Oh yeah, well my heart.
It's not horrible like the dentist or out, right? But it ain't good, is it? It's a hassle. I've got to go and get my Barnet done.
I'd still rather have that inconvenience rather than have no hair. And of course, if you really want and you find the barber's that much of a chore, then you can just clip your own hair at home. Not having the option is definitely worse, trust me. But you ready to move on?
Always.
Title fight, rematch, Moreno, Figueiredo. For the flyweight belt, Moreno won this fight by submission, round 3, rear naked choke. I don't know if you know, but Figueiredo.
I know everything.
Okay, well, Figueiredo only just made weight in time. I think he had seconds to spare. And to me, I watched that fight and I went, this ain't the same Figueiredo that was in the fight previous. This isn't the same Figueiredo I've watched smash.
Maybe it was his brother.
And knock out, but no, he's too much of a beanpole, isn't he? But it ain't the same Figueiredo that I've seen smash out Benavidez 3 times in one fight. This is not the same bloke. Don't want to take anything away from Moreno. Obviously,
Yeah, it might not have been the same Moreno, because I thought he looked absolutely fantastic.
Moreno looked good, yeah. And,
brilliant.
And good for him. And I don't really like talking about this in this way because it is taking something away from his performance or his victory. But to me, Figueiredo...
We're just chatting about both sides of the fight, that's all.
Yeah, and to me, Figueiredo didn't look like the same fighter. He put up barely any offense, limited defense. He looked like a guy who had a bad weight cut, and that's it. He didn't say anything.
Can't be that's it. You said and.
Well, he didn't say anything on the night. I really liked the way he reacted to losing. I don't like people who are too happy when they lose, but there was something very genuine.
He weren't happy that he lost. I think he was happy for the other fella.
Exactly. That's
what
it
looked like.
There was something genuine about this, the way he behaved after. And I thought
definitely
it was really nice, the relationship between them. But he didn't say anything at the time, but he has come out since and said he had a terrible weight cut.
Yeah.
I think that was pretty obvious. And maybe he needs to have another fight to justify going in there again, because it was so dominant for Moreno. He won the first 2 rounds and then submitted him in the third. But I do think something was up with Figueiredo. It's not often that I'll say that, but I'm pretty certain he wasn't at 100%. Didn't look like it.
Well, regardless, Moreno was at 100% or close to it, whatever. I don't know what he would have you say, but he was brilliant. Amazing defense, always had his hands up, regardless of what he just done. Knocked him down with a jab, sharp striking, all over him. When he got the opportunity to do submission, he done a submission. Honestly, that guy looked wicked. He looked brilliant in the last fight as well, right? It's not like he looked crap then. He's brilliant. I've learned a little bit more about him since then. I didn't know that he was previously picked last on the Ultimate Fighter. I didn't know that. I didn't know that he'd previously been cut by the UFC at one point, and he's come back and now he's the champ. I mean, it's brilliant. Really, really brilliant. I'm not a Gareth. I ain't into the story.
We actually brought that up in our Ultimate Fighter chat, didn't we? We said, does it matter if you get picked last in that series? And
that's
we both
right.
said, no, it's nothing. And if ever you needed proof or evidence of that, it's...
You've got a better one than Gastelum now. Yeah, he's actually a champion.
Yeah, so good for him.
So, a bloke that's not only been cut, that's come back and won the belt off of someone who's absolutely powers. I mean, he's brilliant, Figueiredo, as well. It was a brilliant fight. As long as it lasted, it was great. I mean, it's a bit like what you said earlier about what fight was you talking about earlier? It don't matter, but you were talking about a fight earlier that didn't have the Paul Craig, because it was a bit one-sided. And it's the same for this. It was a brilliant fight, but it didn't have a real massive story to it because it was very one-sided.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still good, still really enjoyable. Everything was good about it, like say the aftermath, him lifting him up and doing his fist and all that on his shoulders. It was brilliant. I'm not a Gareth. I ain't really into the stories and stuff, but I did like all of it, and it was a little. I don't want to. It was just nice to see, like you say, the moment was actually quite nice, because most of the time televised moments can't feel or look that genuine because they ain't. Everyone knows they're on telly with cameras in their faces and film crews everywhere. But I agree with you. This felt genuine. I don't mean because he won the belt and cried. I don't mean that. I mean the whole Figueiredo thing as well coming over. It did look good. Yeah. It was good. I think if I hadn't seen the sport before, I'd go, this is a bit of a strange sport. They beat each other up, but look how cool they are to each other afterwards and stuff. It was a good look. It was. And I really like that Moreno bloke. I actually think he's one of my favorite blokes in it. I like the voice. I like the chats. I even like that heart move that he does. You got a bloke in his face at weigh-ins and stuff and face-off saying, I'm going to smash your face in. And he's constantly doing, the heart move or whatever. I actually think he's a brilliant bloke.
I know something about him that's going to make you change your mind.
Oh, well, it might do. I can only go off what I've seen.
He collects Funko Pops.
Right. I'm in two minds. I'm in two minds. I don't like Funko Pops, but I do like toys and I do like collecting. So he's just chosen something that I think is a bit crap. I mean, he might just buy one. They're all the same. Buy one. There's no difference.
Agreed, yeah. But do you think there's some validity in the what I'm saying about Figueiredo? Did you think that looked like the same Figueiredo? I don't want to say that it was just down to Figueiredo not performing. Maybe Moreno made some subtle changes that
He couldn't
meant that
handle
Figueiredo
it.
couldn't perform. Yeah, but I don't think he did. The one thing I did notice is Moreno seemed to come forward from the opening bell, whereas in the first fight he was basically on, had his back to the cage for most of the fight. So that was the main thing I noticed. I honestly think that Figueiredo kind of
he might have allowed that.
Exactly. I just feel like there was something up with Moreno, whether it be the weight cut or something. He just didn't seem 100%. So that is a rematch I'd like to see further down the line. But
why, if it's the so-called rubber match, why if it's one, it's essentially 1-1, isn't it? It's not really. It's a 1-2. It's a draw.
1.5 versus a half, isn't it?
Yeah. Why do you not think you wouldn't be annoyed with a rematch? Would you? It's all right, isn't it?
It would be okay, but the reason I would say no is because I'd like to see Figueiredo make weight and perform one more time before giving him a rematch, because I definitely think he really cut it fine on that weigh-in. And I think the victory for Moreno was so dominant that you can't really sell or justify giving Figueiredo a rematch because it was too dominant. And so what I personally would do is I would give a title shot to Askar Askarov, because he's actually had a draw with Moreno previously, not that long back in a couple of years ago. He's on a good run himself. He's ranked number 3, so it's justifiable in that regard. But he's won his last 3. He's beat Pantoja and Benavidez, and Pantoja is top 5 ranked as well. So if you like, Askarov has done what Edwards hasn't done, which is beaten a top 4, top 5 bloke. They've got a little bit of a history that they didn't figure out, right? They had a draw and then they didn't have a rematch. So we didn't get to see, somebody come forward as being better than the other. So it's all set up perfectly for Askar Askarov, Moreno. In the meantime, Figueiredo maybe has a fight against a Pantoja or someone similar. And then the winners go at it. Simple as that. I think it's all set up perfectly, because you can't justify giving Figueiredo a rematch, but I just don't think it's worthwhile giving Figueiredo that rematch when he was beaten so convincingly. So that's the way I see it. Askarov, for me, has to get the title shot next. And anyone who thinks otherwise is a knob.
It's one of those, divisions where there ain't much choice.
Yeah.
There's not a load of people to go. He could.
Not unless you want to give Benavidez another shot. Let's just keep giving him title shots till he actually wins one. But
it's funny, isn't it, that he's another like Uriah Faber bloke. He's an actual Uriah Faber bloke, and his career is pretty similar. Loads of title shots and losing them or whatever.
Just always. What was it? There's a saying, but I've forgotten it. So don't worry about it.
No, I want to know what the saying is.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Oh, okay, all right.
I think that's suitable. But yeah, look, if I gave you the top 5, you got Figueiredo, Askarov, Pantoja, Perez, Benavidez. Well, look, let's scratch Benavidez because
and Pantoja.
Well, Pantoja has he's very
good.
I think he's decent, but he's lost to Figueiredo before, but unanimous decision a couple of years ago. So why not? Like I say, Figueiredo against Pantoja. Pantoja's definitely improved over the last couple of years. Winner of that fights the winner of Moreno versus Askarov, who fought a couple of years ago to a draw. Simple. Both things make sense, and just for me, there is nothing else. So in fact, I'm moving on to the next fight because it's that obvious.
That's it, isn't it? That's it. We've proved it plenty of times before. We can go on about it. As long as we want. No problem. But we don't need to. It's done. Next
one. Was a rematch as well, but obviously this
Right.
one had more time in between. It was the champion Israel Adesanya, last stylebender, versus Marvin Vettori. 50-45s from all the judges.
Where's the
Uh,
nicknames?
sorry?
Where's the nicknames?
I just said the last stylebender.
Vittori didn't have one.
Okay, the Italian Dream.
That's
50-45.
really running a mill, isn't it? That.
It's
Come on,
yeah,
it ain't great, is it?
it's not terrible either, but it's not great. You know, so I've heard worse, but
You
it's
didn't
not.
say about the Crash Baby, whatever it's called, Moreno, Cry Baby
Uh,
or something.
Assassin Baby, yeah.
Assassin Baby, yeah. What about Figueiredo's? What's his?
Uh, well,
Davison. I don't.
it
I've
says
not. I don't think
it
he's
says
got one.
here it says Daiko, but it also says Deus de Guerra, which is God of War, which is brilliant.
Yeah,
And
of
then
course it is.
he's also his other name is Figgy Smalls, which
I like that as well. Brilliant.
after the rapper Biggie Smalls.
Yeah, but it sounds good. Figgy
Biggie Smalls.
Smalls. Yeah.
It does sound good, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But Duserager's better.
yeah, the God of War is definitely brilliant. Pretty straightforward for Adesanya against Vettori. Now, I do believe that Vettori did okay. I do believe that Vettori landed some strikes. I do believe that whenever Adesanya fights, the commentators just seem to want to stick their tongues so far up his backside.
Agreed.
It could, they could lick his heart. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Ooh, right up. Long
Yeah.
tongue, isn't they?
But honestly, it seems that no matter what anyone else does, doesn't get any recognition. And
Nothing.
if Adesanya even just, chucks a feint out there, they're creaming themselves over it for the next 30
Look at
seconds.
that, Luke. He can't handle it. He's biting on the feints. He's biting on the feints. You know,
Yeah,
Vittori could do an
they've done it
absolute.
with Black Bits with Rogan and stuff like that. And it was the same in this. It was just everything was Adesanya. Now, did he win that fight? In my opinion, yes. Did he win every round? Most probably, yeah. But it weren't like a mauling. It wasn't a battering. Let's be honest. Vettori didn't he leave with basically not really much of a mark on him, as did Adesanya, by the way. But the point I'm making is that they were speaking about Adesanya like he was incredible, and they're speaking about him like he was.
They've done a Russell Peters on him.
Yeah, and it was like they're talking about him like he was dominating Vettori, and I don't think he was dominating Vettori. I think the strike count was. I don't know what it was officially, but to my naked eye, it seemed pretty even. Look, it was definitely in Adesanya's favour, but didn't seem that massively different. Head strikes anyway. Vettori got a couple of takedowns, didn't do anything with them, couldn't actually cement any kind of ground control time or anything like that. I just thought it was a more competitive fight than the commentary led on, and the 50-45s. Every round was reasonably close, even though, I got no problem with 50-45. Every round was reasonably close. But for me, Adesanya definitely deserved to win. He did win. I liked his chats afterwards. I think I like Adesanya quite a lot. I thought his walkout was brilliant. Coming out to Linkin Park, singing along.
No, it can't be. That can't be brilliant.
Go on.
You smashed me in the other day for wearing a Linkin Park t-shirt. Nah, how'd you feel about it?
But
it's okay. It's okay if Adesanya does it, right?
Right. He didn't wear an Adesanya. He didn't wear a Linkin Park t-shirt.
Yeah, but he had no t-shirt on. But I'm just saying, I'm obviously cool as well. I had a sleeveless Linkin Park on, and I got done for it. And he come out to Linkin Park. I think.
Yeah, but to be fair, he was coming out to have a smash with a big, muscly, scary-looking Italian. Maybe if on your way out... I
went into Marks and Spencer's garage to get some butter.
Yeah, well, if maybe on the way out of Marks and Spencer's garage, you bumped into a big, muscly Italian and you told him to F off and then, gave him the runaround for 25 minutes and, then maybe I'll go, you looked amazing doing that in a Linkin Park t-shirt. But just walking around with a Linkin Park sleeveless on... It ain't a great look. Anyway, I really liked the walkout. I thought it was brilliant, and I think
it's not fair.
It is fair.
It's not.
He fights for a living. You don't.
No, the walkout's not fair. No, not the Linkin Park. I'm over the Linkin Park, right? Because I know that I've got some of the coolness. If he's meant to be cool and he's Linkin's, I'm Linkin's, right? But the mask. I maybe things have changed since the Reebok and now it's on to the Venom, but a little bit of favoritism. I thought people weren't allowed to wear masks. Tom Kong Waters weren't allowed to wear a mask, right? What's his name? Big Bren Rothwell. He ain't allowed to wear his cape.
They did allow somebody to wear a mask, though, didn't they? Wasn't it like some Mexican fighter was allowed to wear a mask because they kind of pulled on the whole kind of, cultural sort of significance.
What, Velasquez? But weren't there like a Latino Mexican week or month or maybe
I can't remember, but they did make an exception for somebody.
But they made an exception for Adesanya and all by the looks of it.
Well, like you said, maybe it's to do with the Venom switch. He had one of those masks on that looked like it was from the Immortals from that 300 Spartans film.
Is that what it was?
That's what it looked like, yeah. Basically exactly the same, so with a hat on. But I like Adesanya. I haven't really got much to say about this fight. It was honestly, it got pretty boring for me after a while. Yeah. Once I realised there wasn't much threat from Vettori punch-wise, and it didn't seem like he had enough to get Adesanya on the ground and hold him there because he didn't have the extra 20-odd pounds that Blachowicz has got and maybe isn't as good as Blachowicz. To me, it just became pretty almost like a sparring match. I know afterwards that Vettori sort of said, I thought I won that fight or this and the other.
Brilliant.
He definitely didn't.
Brilliant.
But what I felt was weird is he sort of seemed to have that aura about him in the cage afterwards, even though Cordero was telling him in the corner, do you want to be the champ or not? You're losing this. You've lost every round. I mean, he was telling him straight, you're losing this. You need to do more. So I don't know why he's under the illusion that Cordero can't score fights and he actually should have won it. But
I don't know. But I suppose you've got to have that attitude that, you can do him. You need another shot because let's face it, he ain't going to get another go at it now, is he, for a bit? He just went on a win streak to get that. He's going to have to go on another massive win streak to get another fight. That's 2 losses. Doesn't matter about split decisions, 2 losses. It's always difficult, isn't it? Always difficult when you've had 2 losses against the same bloke.
Yep. I mean, I think he's going to, he'll have to do something spectacular.
He's going to have to start smashing people out.
Yeah, and that's not his style. He don't really do those spectacular. So I think as long as Adesanya is the king, he is going to be the queen.
He looks a bit big and muscly to start dropping down and all that.
Oh yeah, he's
looks massive, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, Whittaker is obviously the next logical fight. It's not absolutely crammed with exciting opportunities. I don't think this middleweight division,
He called out Whittaker himself, didn't he? He said it himself, Adesanya, after the fight in the cage. He said, Bobby Knuckles is next. I'll do him.
Well, look, you get to the stage, right? If he does Whittaker again, he's done Whittaker. He blazed Costa easy. He's done Vettori twice now. The fighters who he hasn't done don't hold much intrigue, as in I don't think posed that bigger issue for him. Doesn't mean they couldn't beat him, but Cannonier, nope. Brunson, nope. Hermanson, nope. Till, I would definitely have an interest in that because obviously he's Ingers, but we'll see how he gets on in his fights before that. Honestly, I'd actually say above all those guys, I'd rather see Uriah Hall against him.
I've got one better.
Hang on. Let me try and work it out. Not Kevin Holland.
I think it's going to be a difficult one to figure out. There's a clue in that as well.
Not Kevin Holland.
Nope.
Okay, what, from the weight class below or above?
Well, he's fought in this weight class and the one above before.
Okay.
And he ain't had a smash for ages. And he's Qual. And he's a former champion. And I don't think he likes her anymore. Sorry, them anymore. There's another clue. But he was mates with Lovato and all.
Rockhold?
Yep, let's go. Come on.
No chance.
Do you mean no chance?
No chance.
Listen, see, this is the thing, right?
Guy is fragile, man.
You must have forgotten.
He should read rather than
he's
Rockhold,
good, mate.
Rather than Rockhold, he should call his name Luke Glasshold.
Nah, No, listen, he's a good fighter. I'm telling you now.
I think
he's
brilliant.
good.
Yeah, I think he's brilliant. But he's Bisping's retired him. Bisping retired that chin.
No, this is a fresh comeback version.
No. He's done that chat before. You can't keep doing that chat. He's done that chat before. He is getting
He's
smacked
doing
out.
a comeback. He's been training with Perillo.
I definitely want to see him fight again. I really like.
And it is real. He's doing a comeback version. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's
185s. I hope. I think it's 185s, and I reckon brilliant.
I think
Look, like you say, he's going to have to do some blokes first. But I mean, if I was in that division, I'd be crying if he was coming back. I mean, it would. You're right. It would remind. I would keep thinking, well, Biz has done him, but he's a good fighter. Maybe he's not good anymore. But so you're saying that's it then? Adesanya reigns supreme. No one can do him. Is that what you're saying?
He's in the unfortunate.
You don't think Hermansson could do him?
Definitely not.
No. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What about the style? Seriously.
Yeah, no, seriously, right. I don't even need to discuss it. When Hermansson
No,
can't do him.
the gritty wrestling
can't.
style.
No chance. Right. So, yeah, he's in that unenviable position where light heavyweight, there's not much there. There's not much at middleweight either.
Well, that's why he went up to light heavies, isn't it? We're one of the reasons go up there, do some damage up there, but no point going up there again now, which is fair enough.
Look, maybe
he's the champ at his weight class. He's doing his thing. And you know what? I do like the bloke. And I tell you what I like about him the most is that he fights all the time. I really like that about him. It's one of the things about UFC, the top fighters, that always irritated me as a fan following the sport. You get into it, you like some of the people, you love watching them fight, and you just never see him fight. And it's not like that with him. I actually do like watching him fight. I do like his fights, and he's always fighting. He's already said about his next fight. What does everybody else say? Well, I'm going to have a break now, and this, that, and the other. I'm going to have a little bit of a. I'm not saying he ain't going to have a break, but what did he say straight away?
When's Blachowicz fighting next?
Exactly. He's the champ, and he pulled someone out.
And he's already beaten his next person, and he's talking about his next person.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
Next?
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So I love it. I think he's great.
There's a lot of things I've seen about him lately that I like. Look, I didn't like him when he first burst onto the scene, because I don't like that over the top dog barking, ooh, where my bitch is at, and I'm the, I don't like all that, and I never will. But there's a lot I like about him. I like the fact that he did go up to light heavyweight. I liked all that, dare to be great, and I liked his attitude after. So what, I got done. I tried to do something out of the ordinary. I tried to do something legendary.
Yeah,
brilliant.
You do better. He done one of them, innit?
Yeah.
You do better than
the way he cheers on and watches his
seems like a good teammate. Yep.
Yeah, good teammate. I think I really liked the walkout this time. That was brilliant. It's just, he's obviously got a good fighting style, an exciting fighting style. He's been in some toilet fights, but that's not his fault always necessarily, or whatever. I just think there's a lot to like about him. I do like him. Just don't like the, bitches and all that sort of chat.
He don't do that as much now, though, does he? Now he's got a name for himself.
Don't seem to. Look, I don't know whether that's because he's got sponsorship deals. He got.
I don't need to.
Slap on the wrist. As well. We don't need to court controversy.
When you're coming up, he's got the
bullseye on his back. Yeah. He's got the crosshairs on his back, so he don't need to be controversial or whatever. I even quite liked the Costa when he done the little bum move on Costa.
I like that. Costa. No, it's brilliant.
Because they had big. If he'd done it against just a good gizzer, I wouldn't like it. But he'd done it because
it matters. If he did it to Robert Whittaker,
come in and smash my face in, and now I'm bumming you in the middle of the octagon in front of millions. So
it does matter. If he did it to Whittaker, I'd go, that's a bit disrespectful. Fellow martial arts. He's only in there trying to get what you took from him and all that. But Costa, I don't want to say he deserved it, but it didn't bother me. Yeah, so it was good. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, it weren't a great fight. That it wasn't a great card considering what was on the card.
Exactly, had a lot more potential than actually ended up delivering. But
yeah,
just to let you know quickly, performance of the night was Moreno and Paul Craig, and fight of the night Riddell Dober.
I don't remember there being a fight against Moreno and Craig. Different weight class, them two.
No, they had a smash up backstage afterwards. No,
did they?
I said performance of the night, so that's what you've just made yourself look like a mug. Performance of the night, Moreno.
I don't know.
Fight of the night was Riddle, though, but well, let's do it back after if you can be bothered. But I definitely didn't get it wrong.
I don't know. It's the way it was said. Oh, the
I mean, I would have
performance of
said
the
fight
night went to these two. Stuff, but they didn't have a fight.
No.
Well, anyway, it's only a bit of light-hearted humour.
Well, I didn't make the mistake. That's all. So that was it. Not a great event, like you say. Had a lot more potential and delivered, I'd say.
Yeah.
I'd probably give it as an event maybe a 5.5 out of 10, just over average. It was all right. It was okay. Had a couple of decent moments, but
yeah,
most of that would be for Craig versus Hill. That was brilliant.
No, Angela Hill weren't on this card, and he don't fight women.
I said Jamal Hill.
You just said Hill.
All right. Okay. I think this podcast is over because it's just going to be this kind of stuff now. Yeah. See you at the next one. What is the next one?
The next one I haven't seen, but you have. It's the one with Chang Sung Young versus Dan Ige. Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, I don't want any clues. You know I don't do that. But I am going to ask one simple question. Did you enjoy it? Was it good? Don't matter.
What, you mean that fight or the event as a whole?
No, just this event as a whole. I don't want to know about the fight because it'll give me a clue, wouldn't it?
The event as a whole.
Hang on, there was a clue. Horse noise straight away.
I was thinking, when the event as a whole, I would say I would give it a. I'd say there's a few bright spots in this fight. There's
there's plenty of splats out there, is there, in it? With light splashes.
No, there's a few bright spots, a couple of good fights, a couple of people I like on it. So it wasn't bad. Yeah, pretty similar to this. Like, for me, the event as a whole, probably 5.5 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Well, the next thing we'll be chatting about will be the Ultimate Fighter, episode 3.
Yeah.
Not this e-gaze. That'll come after. And I'm looking forward to chatting about it.
God, bloody hell, I ain't.
But thank you for chatting about this. Thank you to DMX.
Yeah.
Simmons, nice. Let's go, boy. Thanks, mate. Brilliant. And I hope your subscription is everything it's lived up to be. You know, is everything it's lived up to be? It's not a real chat.
Yeah, that was crap. Yeah, forget it.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it. Like, I think you're right. Let's just let's just leave it now.
Call it a day.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Yeah, I'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, I'll see you on the flip side.
Bye, mate.
See you later.
See you later.